How can you possibly understand me from far away? Overseas, the Great Divide, desensitized. Action.
You're in Zoom already, and whenever you're ready, you're clear. Sorry, Roger.
The effects have dulled and affected.
Target destroyed, Roger. Rolling.
There is a complete disconnect. How can you choose to ignore, move on, forget? There is always a storm. There is always a roar. The sound of violence and the violence of sound. Sinking toward the bottom, lost and unfound. We are screaming from behind glass walls of misunderstanding. We are not asking, we're telling you, living and reliving, dying and revisualizing. Over and over and over! Relief is as numb as the word itself.
On Tuesday evening, police were called to the Desmond family home.
You might try to justify our actions.
Fulfilled a lifelong dream of becoming a nurse, was shot dead.
A buffet of fabrications, imaginations, or villains.
Struggled for years with PTSD, appears to have then shot himself.
Dare to ask me and face my fears.
Appears to have then
Or do you not see the nightmares, the flashbacks, the shame, pushing us towards the edge and compounding our self-blame? Our pain, our avoidance, our effort but never winning. Our wartime is not over. It's only beginning. Our loyal true loves, they suffer. Our children, confused or crying.
Are you okay, Daddy?
I can't wipe away their tears because my own are too much.
He stood by my side, and he saved my life numerous times.
I humbly dare you to look me in the eye.
As I did his, as the next guy did, as the next
What
guy
do you
did.
feel? What dreams do you imagine are now deceased? What things can you fix when all you have is peace? What places and lands do you explore freely? Please take me along. But right now, I'm only dreaming. I want that freedom. But when I close my eyes, this is what I see. So that's my show. Off to the next speaker. No, honestly, when we put this together, I wanted everyone to feel the pain and the suffering that people go through with mental illness, okay? It's very important that we watch that video and realize that people are suffering like this every single day. This was based on true events. Okay, this is stuff that happened in my life, right here. And making that video, I knew we could hit some strings here tonight. But I want you to know, because of the program that we developed, I'm physically stronger and mentally stronger than I've ever been in my entire life. And I'm a newfie. So when they told me I had 12 minutes, I was like, yeah, okay. Good luck. So as you can see, this is where I was born and where I grew up. I joined the military in 1997. I went through my training and I ended up just down the road in Ormocto, New Brunswick. I served a 17-year career, and there are the domestic operations and the international operations that I served in. I had a very, very high-tempo career. The one thing I do want to talk about before we change this slide is Swiss Air. Swiss Air was the first time, I was in my 20s at the time. I mean, I'm 40 now, so don't tell anybody. But I was in my 20s. It was my first ever experience of a traumatic event. It was also the one and only time ever that I was allowed to stand around in a circle with a bunch of my own soldiers and decompress about what we had seen on the beaches the 2 days that we were there. The one and only time in 17 years, and I'll tell you, I've seen a lot worse than that. Here's a picture of me and my brother. If you call my mother right now on the phone, sorry, Mom, I know you're watching, but I gotta tell them. If you call her and ask her right now, she'll tell you she lost both of her sons in Afghanistan because we came home completely different people. Completely changed. Wasn't the happy-go-lucky guy anymore. Wasn't the guy at the parties, the hockey player, nothing. I was locked away in a house. On the right, you can see me and him returning back. This is my brother. We returned back from Afghanistan in 2007 after fighting together in the same company. And on the left is just us practicing some Army stuff a long time ago. The war itself, my first 3 tours, they were manageable. They were a good opportunity to get out there and learn to be a soldier. They really were. The one thing I did learn about those countries is just how inhumane we can all be to each other. So if you ever think for 1 minute that Canada is not the best country in the world, think again. Go visit one of these places. You'll never think that again. In 2007, I was shipped off to Bungay in Afghanistan. It's one of the most deadliest places on earth. And every single day we went out the gate, we were shot at or somebody was trying to blow us up. And I'll tell you a funny story. You want to hear a funny war story? Because there's some, trust me. We would get up at 11 o'clock at night. We'd get in our LAV-3 tanks, and they'd zip us up the highway 5 minutes, and they'd drop us off in the desert in the middle of nowhere. And we'd start walking for 5-6 hours with 100 pounds of gear on our back through the night. 6 o'clock, we'd stop as the sun was starting to rise, and the prayers of Allah are coming through the skies. Within 15 minutes, and you could put it on your watch, within 15 minutes, someone was trying to kill us. Guaranteed. And when I came back, we would fight them. We fought them off, or we would go on the offensive, one or the other. We'd fight them until about noon. And us being Canadian, we would just stand up and be like, yo, 60 degrees out here, and I'm from Canada. So we're just going to pack it on up. We're going to go get some more bombs, some more ammo, some more food, some more water. And we're about to kill you some more tomorrow. All right? Good enough. So we just moseyed on out of there, and we legitimately did that day after day after day, and they never ever caught on to it. It was hilarious. Until I got home. When I got home, that's where everything changed for me. I noticed my drinking picking up. I was angry. I was upset all the time. I was fidgety, anxious. I didn't know what was wrong because we didn't talk about mental health back then. We didn't even know what it was, really. So, as a soldier, you suck it up and you bottle it and you carry on to the next one. I went back again in 2010, came home. This time I lost my family and everything I owned. I was alone. 2012, I went back again, and when I got home, everything unraveled for me. The drinking was out of control. I was using illegal drugs for pain, and I just spiraled out of control. People ask me all the time, what the hell did you keep going back for? Well, I kept going back because I was a soldier. This is what I was trained to do. I wasn't a doctor. I was a soldier. And I was trained to kill. And when I was asked to go over there to do so, I would do it. It was easy for me. You know, when you're home in Canada, you've got bills, cars, mortgages, spouses, children. Oh my God, the children. But it was easy for me over there, very easy. So I felt safe. I got home, like I said, I got sent home in August of that year, and I knew I needed help because I got sent home for a career course. So I was in the office, I passed my final exam, and I woke up in the corner of the room, not remembering anything, sweating and shaking, and I had put the keyboard of the computer through the screen. And I didn't remember any of it, nothing. So I stood up and I shook myself off, wiped away the tears, and I went and asked for help. Right away, I was given 20 pills a day and told, just go home. Somebody will get a hold of you soon. Well, let me tell you this. If you think for 1 minute the pharma companies are in the business of making us better, you're 100% wrong. Okay? The pharma companies are in the business of making you feel better. So you get sick, you take a pill, you feel better. But if you're not sick and you're not buying pills, they're not making money. So they're in the business of making you feel better. But they're damn well not in the business of making you better. So think about that the next time you look to put a pill in your mouth. Within 3 months, not once in my entire life have I ever thought about suicide. Within 3 months, I had a gun in my mouth. 3 months after that, I was in Montreal, rushed to Mont Royal Hospital, and luckily enough, I'm here to stay. I'm here to talk to you tonight. My son came into me one night and he says, Dad, I couldn't wake you up last night. I was scared. I was crushed. Onto that, I had 15 friends of mine commit suicide. 15. Every one of them were on prescription drugs, and every one of them fought in Afghanistan. If anybody ever asks you what the price tag is on war, yeah, it's monetary. There's also a personal. If anybody ever asks that question, go back to this picture. Every man that I'm pointing at right there, all retired with PTSD. This gentleman right here was one of the nicest men I ever met, and I had the honor of fighting with him. He killed his mom, his wife, his daughter, and himself. And I'm sure we know that story well. I had to change the way things was happening, so I did. And I started looking after me. As you can see there, each sentence starts with I. I had to make the decision to get well, because nobody else was going to do it for me. And I knew I had to put the work into it, or I was dead. No question. So I did all of these things. I got off the alcohol and drugs, and I got weaned off my prescriptions with my psychiatrist, and we tried medical cannabis, and it worked well. What do you know? A natural drug. So I started using all the things you see right here. Now, if any of you want to experience PTSD and see the symptoms, feel free to follow me into a yoga class and watch me in a downward dog. You will have nightmares like there is no end. 17 years in the infantry, pounding around, the old body just don't move like it used to. And you'll know when you go in there. But all in all, every point that you see up there, I was chasing happiness again. Chasing happy. Because I wasn't that guy walking around with a smile on my face anymore. I hated everybody. Now, I know I don't look very happy right there. But I'm in the middle of my treatment. I'm working out, and I'm starting to really feel good around here. And by God, when I started feeling good around here, this just changed significantly. I was re-energized and started a couple of businesses. And I started helping guys with PTSD. I was a very well-respected soldier in the Army. And when people started me reaching out and saying that I'm sick, they started following pace. So I started helping guys and directing them in the right places. I was like, this is stupid. I got to go see my psychiatrist in Fredericton, another doctor in Ormocto. Now I got to go to Moncton. Then I'm in Halifax, like, what the hell? We need a one-stop shop for wellness. So that's what we did. We started trauma healing centers, the conversation of trauma healing centers, in November 2014. In January 2015, we opened the first clinic. Not much of a timeline there. And now we have 7 clinics across the country, and we've helped well over 3,600 people. Thank you. The one thing that is important to me is right at the very bottom, right here. Every one of our clinics has every one of these services, and some of them have a lot more. But this one right here, the peer support advisor, I feel nobody should ever go through mental illness alone. It's the hardest struggle you will ever find yourself in. So our peer support advisors are a free service that we offer our clients. They're a shoulder to lean on in their time of need. They're a call or a coffee or anything, whatever you need. And they love it. Ladies and gentlemen, 3 years ago, I should have been dead. And I get to stand here tonight and tell you about my story and how we developed this company. We have an obligation as a society to start ending the silence on mental health. 1 in 5 Canadians have a mental illness. In 10 years or less, 50% of students in our public education system will require an EA. Please, when you leave here tonight and you tuck yourselves into your beds and that alarm goes off tomorrow. No, wait, it's Sunday, right? Okay, so when you wake up tomorrow, start it fresh, start chasing happy, and let's end the stigma on mental health. Thank you.